So for today's workshop, we're going to be talking about how to renovate and be able to submit applications to the city's planning and development department through our new portals. And we have some new options available. Just to give some background information, the planning and development department exists so that public and private entities within the city can be sure to obtain those necessary permits. And then also the code enforcement division works with organizations to make sure that they're in compliance with city codes. And then there's different divisions within planning and development. Those are engineering, building, zoning, and code enforcement. And the purpose of those different entities will work with possibly the same people outside of the city or inside of the city, and they may have the same quote unquote customers, but you may come in contact with them throughout a building process or in the process where maybe you're obtaining a parcel and you need to come and talk to some of the zoning staff or planners. And then we have a couple of code enforcement officers who actually work to go into the community to make sure that the code that has been adopted by the City of Westerville is being enforced. So the main point that I really want to make sure individuals are aware of is that we actually have two different types of portals. We have an e-plan portal and a permit portal. So you can see here on our website that when you go to our website, the ribbon on the top where it says services, if you hover over that, it'll populate the planning and development department in that list. And when you click on forms and applications, it'll bring you to the two launch points for these portals. So let me tell you a little bit about the difference. So the top e-plan submission portal is for commercial applicants that need to submit plans for e-plan review. So that's going to be engineering, building, and board and commission review. So if you have something for the Uptown Review Board, something for the Board of Zoning Appeals, or the Planning Commission, you can also use this portal. This is not for the sort of thing that will be covered in the other portal. So the other portal is the permit portal. And the permit portal is used to submit what we call over-the-counter trade permits. That's going to be everything from all of your residential building. You can submit commercial applications in person as well. It's just that commercial applications like those plan review are to be submitted through that top portal, the e-plan submission portal. So the permit portal right now went live February 7th of this year, and about every 3 to 4 months, we're rolling out another set of applications. This can also be used by residential homeowners, residential contractors. So the purpose of this web portal is to make for a more convenient method. So knowing that our office is open from 8 to 4, not everyone is going to be able to make it in person to be able to submit some of those applications. So this is going to not replace coming to see us at the lobby and at the window. It's just offering another method. And until all of those permits are added online, some permits you still have to come into the window to submit. I also wanted to make you aware of a couple of things coming down the pike that you should be aware of. So the residential permit portal, these are the sort of applications that can be accessed through that. This is the permit portal. This is sort of what it looks like. So if you're a resident submitting a fence application, you would come through this portal. And coming soon is going to be all of the commercial HVAC, commercial trade license registration, and a residential and commercial sidewalk and curb cut and approach. So where this is interesting to you as a commercial contractor is that currently, if you, for example, want to submit an application for commercial electric work, you have to be on file with us as being a registered and licensed electrician with the state of Ohio. Typically, contractors would include that licensure with the application, and then that way we know. Going forward, we're going to have an online portal where you can submit that information online. So again, one less thing that you have to come into our office for, and having that state license on file will allow you to have access to those trade applications. So commercial and licensed electricians will have access to commercial electric permits. Commercial licensed HVAC contractors will be able to access that type of trade permit. So this is just what I was explaining. The portal is going to be available for individuals to submit their state license to be registered with the City of Westerville. We are not licensing anyone that comes through the state. This is just to be on file with the city. Good question. So the question was, will the registered licensed contractors be available for Westerville residents? And I would say that all of that information is available through the state of Ohio. And so you could use anyone from the state of Ohio that is licensed. So being registered with the state of Westerville doesn't mean you can or can't do work. It just means that the person doing the work has to show their license. So through the portal, commercial contractors submit their state license. And then once a commercial contractor is registered, they'll have access to those online permits. And so that's our contact information. If you have any questions and you want to get in touch with us, the biggest thing that I am contacted for with the portal is people aren't sure exactly how it works. And so you can call this number and I can walk you through that. And then the other thing that I get asked questions is like with the residential permit portal, because you don't have to be a licensed contractor for that, your name may or may not be in the list. So that's not required in that permit portal that you submit the contractor information. But if you would like your information submitted, you can send that to our email and we can add that. Yes, so when I talk about commercial contractors, it means contractors that are doing business for commercial clients. The city building official, his preference is that the person who is pulling the permit is the person doing the work. And really the reason for that is because when you're filling out an application, you're sort of taking on the responsibility for that work. And so we would much rather be able to work directly with the contractor about the work that they are doing, that they might be licensed by the state to do, rather than working with a homeowner who a lot of times may or may not know the answer to some of the questions that would be required for a permit application. So a residential unit is a single, double, or three-family unit. Anything 4 or more is considered commercial. So a lot of times since we've gone live with the portal, there was some confusion about from contractors say, well, this is for a residence, but sometimes it's a multi-family residence. And so it would be a single 2-family or 3-family unit. But then if it's 4 or more, then it's considered commercial, which is why we're quickly rolling out the rest of the commercial HVAC, because a lot of times companies will do both. They will do work for a single family residence, and then they'll also do work for, you know, some of the small condo units around here. How long does a license with the city stay on file? And for a registered licensed contractor by the state, the state will give the contractor the expiration date. So we will enter the expiration date based on what the city or what the state provides. I would say probably the first step would just be to call our office and see if they're registered. But Yeah, and it's really more so of just checking and verifying that that information exists before we give access to, contractors being able to access that through the portal. Anyone that is licensed by the state would have same day availability to come into our office and submit applications. The only difference with the portal and coming into the office is that we have that extra step, because when they come into our office, they're already in our system. And so we're verifying that information just to be sure, just because we can't physically see them. So the turnaround time for permits vary widely. It really depends on what type of permit you are submitting. So if you were in person and you handed someone an application, they would look it over, make sure it was correct, and then they would basically accept it, and then they would start the work. We do that same sort of process online, where when someone submits an application, our team goes through it to make sure that it has all the information that it needs, and then we accept it. Once it's accepted, then that sort of starts the ball rolling and goes through our workflow of who has to review certain applications. The applications that we have online right now are pretty quick because they're not requiring an in-depth plan review. So I would say the turnaround for most of our permits are just a matter of days. So right now, when you go to create an application, what we see a lot of is the residential 1, 2, 3 family. And right now we have mechanical applications available. So this is your AC replacement, your water heater replacement, your furnace replacement. And then even after the permits for these are issued, you still have to have an inspection by the City of Westerville. And so you would call our office. Our office does not call you to schedule. It would be upon you to contact the city on a time that works for you to schedule an inspection for those. Some of the other ones. So anytime you get a pod or dumpster, you're supposed to get a permit from the City of Westerville, especially if you are putting that pod or dumpster in the road. If you put a pod or dumpster in the road, it becomes a right-of-way issue. And so you would need to submit information about that through here. So if you're just getting a pod or dumpster and putting it in your driveway, you can still get an application. There's no charge for these applications. It's just so we know that going to have it, because it's only, you're able to put a pod or dumpster in your driveway for 3 days. And so where you will see right now where it says residential 1, 2, and 3, in the next coming weeks, you'll see a commercial button, and that commercial button will take you to the commercial HVAC and commercial sidewalk applications. So the e-plan portal, when you click on this accordion tile, it shows you all of the options available to you that information can be sent through this portal. So you would sign in to the e-plan review, and then once you access that, you would be able to select whether you want to send a building, an engineering, or a planning application through, and then you would submit that information, and that can all be done